Okay, everybody, how are you? We are back for I think we're on day 3, day 4. I can't even remember. There's been that many, and it's been awesome. We've been doing this since Monday, and my goodness, tomorrow is the last day. So today must be day 4. All right, 4 is my favorite number. It is the best number in the world. I live in number 4. I was born in the 4th, and I just think it's the best number. So today is going to be awesome. And today is all about the creative workshop, how you can start to think into your results, how you can start to expand your thinking so that you can go out and create more greatness in your life. Now, I am trying to stream this on Facebook, but I'm not 100% sure it's going to work for us today. I'd probably say a lot of people are trying to get on Facebook. Brilliant. Okay, so loads of people love it. If you think you are the person that lives the furthest away, so you're not in the UK, you're not in Ireland, let us know where you're coming from. I would love to see in the chat box, who do we think is the furthest away? Ooh, Deepak in Dubai, you're pretty good. Yeah. Germany, love it. Buffalo, nice. So if you are from Buffalo or you're from all sorts of places really far away, I want to know how you've heard about this series, because we didn't put one penny of advertising on this. We didn't even have a fancy sales funnel, as you've seen. It was literally, here's a link, I'm going live. So I want to know, how did you hear about this series? Was it just from the group? I would love to just learn from you guys. Facebook. Okay, perfect. Well, let's get on with today, guys. As I said, today is called the Creative Workshop, and this is the call, or this is the lesson or module, whatever you want to call it, that is going to help you start to think outside the box, start to think outside your perceived limitations. And that is what I've been wanting to build you up to this point, where, okay, we've calmed the mind, we have relaxed, we've started to reflect, we've started to learn from the past, we've started to look at things that worked, things that didn't work, and now we want to rebuild. And a big part of that rebuilding process is the creation process. It's like the most important process of anything that you want to create, the thinking process in delivering the idea from your mind so that you hold it in your hand. Okay, if you've ever wondered what the logo of my business means, the little vibrations, that says in a vibration, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. And it's a fantastic quote that Napoleon Hill has in his book, Think and Grow Rich. And I always loved it, because if you can think it, you can have it. Now imagine you really believe that wholeheartedly. Like, imagine if I said this board is white. Okay, who all agrees that this board is white? I want you to type into the chat box if you think this board is white. Yes or no? Excellent. Okay. So everyone's saying yes. All right. Now imagine you believed that what you think you create, you believe that as much as you believe that that is white. Okay. That's what I want you to think about, because if you can think it, you can do it. In fact, if you didn't think it, if you couldn't do it, you wouldn't think it. That's the coolest part about all of this. Now, here's the next thing. Who thinks I'm white? Type into the chat box if you think I'm white. White in skin color. Yeah, lots of different yeses. Okay. I hate to agree with you, but yeah, I'm pretty white. I was actually supposed to be in Mexico this week, having a great time in the sun. So unfortunately, yes, I would agree, I am white. However, am I? And this is where your lens comes in. Because 5 seconds ago, you all agreed that this was white. And now you've all agreed that I'm white, but I'm not the same color as this. I'm not too far off, but I'm not the same color. So this starts to get you, I mean, this just gets you to question, is what I really think true, or is it my perspective? Because here's a white piece of kitchen roll. That's white. It's not too far off the color, but it's not the same color, and it's not the same color as my skin. And yet these are all things that we would say are white. So it's our perspective that really is what we need to take into consideration, because we think something is something, and sometimes it just isn't, even though that we think it is. So your thinking is dependent on your belief system, on your past experience. That's what your belief system. I mean, if you were popped out of the womb when you were born and you were told this color was blue, well, you would have no reason to disagree with it because you don't know any difference. But you were taught this is white, and this is why the whole world calls it white. All right. But then we also call Caucasian or white people white, but we're not white. Okay. So this is where the mind has a store, like a memory bank of white. Yes, that's the answer. But what if every day you're working through your life, you're working through your business, and your memory bank, remember we talked about the filing cabinet, starts bringing you files saying, oh yeah, this is what it is. And maybe you keep saying no, or maybe you keep turning things down, or maybe you've been working on a project and you just keep coming up with the same ideas. Well, this is where today really matters, because today is about your creative workshop, the part of your mind that creates everything, okay? And everything in this world has been created by thoughts, all right? Before this was a whiteboard, somebody had to think of the whiteboard. Before this was a blue, nice cushion, somebody had to think about it. I had to think about what type of color of furniture I wanted before I bought the furniture. I had to think about creating this course before you're able to sit and watch the course, okay? So there's nothing that you couldn't look around you right now and realize that there had to be a thought before there was a thing. Even if you look around in your house right now, everything that's sitting there, you've made a decision at some point that you've wanted it, okay? You've wanted that sofa. You've wanted, even the cup that you're drinking out of. I'm drinking out of a lovely little glass cup with a copper handle, all right? I chose this. I wanted it, so I bought it. But somebody had to create that, okay? Somebody had to take that metal and bend it and decided, this is good. Somebody will want to buy this at some point, but it created in their mind. So this is what I really want us to talk about today, the creative workshop. And it is fascinating and exciting, because this is where you're going to start to realize that you can have anything and you can do anything, but you must allow yourself to think in possibilities, okay? So have you been doing your daily routines as I suggested? Have you been getting up and doing your gratitude first thing in the morning? Let me know in the chat box. Yes? Nobody's really going to say no, are they? Good. Have you felt a difference? And I want an honest answer. Maybe even just give me a couple of words of what difference have you noticed this week? Whether it's been with tuning into this, whether it's been with doing your gratitude, have you felt a bit of a shift or a bit of a difference? That's what I want to hear from you. For sure, more motivated. I am grateful, optimistic and calm, more serene. Awesome. Good. Clearer mind, calmer mind. Love it. Okay, good. So this has calmed you down. You've been a better mummy. Well done. More clarity. Kids are more grateful. Good, Maura. I love it. I love it. Okay, so this is what it's all about. This is only on day 4. Can you imagine if you did this every single day? Your life would be so different, okay? And now you can take this away and you can practice it. There's a little thing I want to read firstly out of the Science of Think and Grow Rich. And it's in the chapter which is called the imagination, okay? Because I don't know if any of you listened to Bob yesterday on the Q&A, but what he said, and I just thought it was, so good. Here is one of the books that has been most read, most applied, made more millionaires than probably anything else. And yet it's also, a lot of people haven't made a lot of money. And it's called Think and Grow Rich, except it never really talks about money. It talks about the mind. It talks about the science and the psychology behind success. That's what I'm obsessed with. And I mean obsessed, okay? I spend all day, every day studying this. Why? Because it gets me great results, makes me happy, makes me fulfilled, makes me clear, makes me a better friend, makes me a better partner, makes me a better mentor, and I feel great. So why wouldn't you do something every day that makes you feel great? But yet, how many things are you doing a day that don't make you feel great? And you keep repeating them. Doesn't make sense. So this all comes down to what I was talking about yesterday. You have a conditioned pattern of thinking. It's your paradigm. And that is what's blocking you from thinking beyond where you normally think. All right. So if you've been feeling stuck around ideas, if you've been feeling, I don't know what my goal is, then this is where we've got to start. We've got to start in the mind, and we've got to start with one of your creative tools. You've got 6 higher mental faculties. Okay. You do. Sitting, watching right now, you've got 6 mental tools that you may not actually know what they are, and you may not know how to use them. And the thing is, that's the only thing that's holding you back from creating a life on your terms, a life of design instead of default. Because you're going to go through life regardless, but is it on your terms or is it in somebody else's terms? That's the question you always want to ask yourself. Am I living on purpose, or am I just kind of doing what other people want me to do? I want you to live on purpose. I want every single thing that you do every day to be on purpose. Why? Because that's what living is all about. You were not born, and I don't think that you were, and I don't think that you believe this. You were born to create. I don't think you believe that you're here to just get a job, fight what goes on in the world, pay your taxes and die. That is not living. All right. So then we've got to get to the question of, why are we here? What is the point? What is the purpose? And then start doing that. Okay. Now, in the chapter on imagination, it says, and I've read this out several times in many events, but Napoleon Hill said, if you are one of those who believe that hard work and honesty alone will bring you riches, perish the thought. It is not true. Riches, when they come in huge quantities, are never the result of hard work. Riches come, if they come at all, in response to definite demands based upon the application of definite principles, not by chance or luck. Okay? Now, listen to that. If you believe that it's through hard work and honesty alone that you're going to create wealth, that you're going to create freedom, that you're going to create whatever, bring the kids to Disney, whatever that is, if you're depending on hard work alone, you need to perish the thought, because you're going to end up working very, very hard for a long time, and there probably won't be huge changes. There'll be incremental changes, but it's at the expense of a life. And that's where I spoke about yesterday. I don't think that's fair, and I don't think that that's how you want to live, but it sometimes is how you're living. So we've got to ask why. How do we change this? How do we start to flip this so that you can move out of the 97% of people that are stuck, that don't have a goal, into the 3% of people that know where they're going and earn 96% of all the money? That's the side of the coin you want to be on. Now, you can't be in this camp and hate this camp, okay? So if you've got some sort of, it's not fair, those people, if you've got that sort of attitude, that's your biggest block. If you ever see anybody in your life succeeding, you want to praise them. You want to wish them well. You want to say, I'm so glad to see that person doing really well, because if they can do well, I can do well. And I'm so glad that they're paving the way to show me that it is possible. That's sometimes not how we think. Now, I don't think any of my followers are going to be very, very nasty, but there are people out there who absolutely despise to see people with nice things, with nice cars, with going on holiday. And that is where that attitude of mind stops the creation process, blocks you in, boxes you in. And that's not what you want. So it's not through hard work, but Napoleon Hill says what it is through is response to definite demands. So what is it that you really, really, really want? You got to first know that. So it's by definite demands based upon the application of definite principles. So do you know the success principles? Really ask yourself, do you know how many success principles there are? Do you know what they are? Do you know how to apply them? And that's that word right there, apply, is the biggie. Because I would probably guess you have watched this sort of stuff before. You maybe even watched Bob's stuff before. Maybe you're a student of Bob. Maybe you're a student of mine. And you're maybe not doing what you need to be doing because we think we know it and we go, oh yeah, frequencies, vibrations, paradigms. I know all that stuff. Yeah, the conscious mind, the subconscious mind. And you're brilliant. But the results aren't changing. And that tells me that you don't actually know it at a subconscious level. You're not actually taking that knowledge and applying it to your actions. And that's the only way that you're going to allow the energy to flow to and through you. It's the only way you're going to get results if you apply the behavior and the knowledge that you know. That's why I crack up when I see Instagram or Facebook posts or other, people saying knowledge is power. Hustle, grind, get knowledge, read every book under the sun. No, stop doing that. You could go and read 100 books and still have crap results. And we know people that have read hundreds of books and have crap results. And then we know people who have hardly read any books, have hardly any education, and they're flying. Warren Buffett. In fact, Warren Buffett, the only real main course he did was a course by Dale Carnegie, which is the same guy that we're talking about here. It was Andrew's brother. And they were all, so everything that Warren Buffett studied is everything that I teach to my clients. So if you want to think like the 1%, or you want to be, sitting in Warren Buffett's camp today, he's lost like 10 billion or something. That'd be terrible for us, wouldn't it? But it would be nice to have it to lose it. So this is the sort of principles, success principles that Edison, Marconi, the Wright brothers, so many people have used and are successful. Steve Jobs. All of these guys all think differently, so they get differently. Even if you listen to Oprah Winfrey or you listen to anybody, they're all talking in and around these principles. Now, I just want to say, because I just have to say it, sometimes you'll hear people talking about the principles, but if they're not showing by results that they're applying the principles, it's just talk. And I don't mind saying that. Okay, I talk the talk, but I also walk the walk. And if you ask any of my clients, I tell them my stories on a daily basis of what crazy stuff I've done, or how I've stretched myself, or how I've put myself into fear to grow. Like, I do mad stuff, but you know what? It has worked. I've had the best 4.5 years of my life. So this is where it all comes down to. Let's learn about what you want, and then let's learn what the principles are, because if we apply them and we have definite demands, then we're going to become successful. It says it's not by chance or by luck. There's no such thing as luck or chance. There's always a cause and an effect. We may not know what the cause is to any given effect. Like, let's say you win the lottery. You might say, oh, flip, that guy was really lucky. Well, it was nothing to do with luck. That was all set up. He attracted that in some shape or form. It's like everything in our life. Every single thing, when it comes down to it, has a cause and has an effect. Okay? The thought, then the thing. So this is why I focus on the mind, not things, because nobody actually wants to get anything. Like, you might think you want more money, you want a better house, you want to go on holidays, you want all these things. You might even think, well, I just want to be happy. Well, that's really hard. That's not tangible. What does that mean? Okay. If you're the sort of person that when you get asked what are your goals and you say I just want to be happy, I'm really sorry to tell you, but you don't really have a goal, because happiness in my mind is like a given. Okay, that's just a given. That's like going to the cinema and not being given a seat. Okay, you are always going to be happy if you make that a standard in your life and you create a mindset that always gives you that. Like, I never work towards being happy. I'm happy because I'm working towards my purpose, and I'm working on purpose. If I lose weight, if I get this position, if I could just get my business back up into where it was a month ago, I'll be happy. Were you happy a month ago? Were you 100% happy? Now, what I know is that it's none of that that you really want. What you really want is the feeling that you believe these things are going to give you. A lot of people say, oh my goodness, if I could just lose a bit of weight, I would feel this. If I could just, get a couple extra grand in a month, I would feel this. And here is where, for me, it is magic, because we go after things thinking that we will feel X, and we push towards the things trying to get, and we actually push the things away because it's so hard. And then when we get the thing, a lot of times we see people going, oh, I don't really feel anything. Maybe I'll go after this goal. Maybe this is the goal. And then they start chasing goals, and then they eventually realize there's no fulfillment in these things. I don't want things. Things are bad. And then we start turning against money and turning against things. And then we go, no, it's just all about fulfillment. Yes, it is, but you can still have the things and have fulfillment. Nobody has ever said anywhere that you have to choose. You can have it all. Everyone in history has said that, right back to Jesus, right? So you've got to ask yourself, why have you decided to put in restrictions? Why are you saying to yourself, well, I can have this or I can have that? Have both. Because when you apply and understand this material, you'll realize that you can. In fact, I was talking to one of my clients yesterday. She's just brand new into our program, Thinking into Results. She's from New York. So I'm not sure if you're on, Christy, but if you are, lovely to see you. And she has studied this sort of material for 4 years. She studied with Bob. She studied with other people. She's probably actually been studying it longer than me. And in our first call yesterday, because I do laser calls with my clients, I had a 20-minute call with her, and I was able to explain things that she'd been struggling with for 4 years studying. Now, if 20 minutes of a conversation can be better than 4 years of studying and investing in courses and courses and courses, and then my goodness, that's worth it. Mentorship is the key here. Don't just go out and buy random courses in the panic. Like, if anybody is out there buying all these Facebook ads courses and all that sort of stuff, I really, really wouldn't, until you get your mindset right. Because you're just looking at it with a frantic thought process, and you're like, oh, that's cheap, let me get this, I could learn this while I'm off. You're not. The best thing you could do is learn about you, because you're still operating with the same mindset. So actually, it doesn't matter if you know a wee bit about doing it, you're not doing it with the right energy. Remember, we talked yesterday about it's the energy in which we take action is what creates the reaction. Okay? This is how people at the 1%, the 3% level are able to be on holidays more than what they work, earn way more money. And yet, when I remember when I was kind of in 9-to-5 employment, I was looking at these people going, that's ridiculous. That's not real life. They're those people, that can't be fun. That can't be. And I was putting it down. Why? Because I was ignorant. Remember what I said yesterday, anything we don't understand, we're ignorant to. And unfortunately, when we see that in the world with other people, when we don't understand something that somebody's explaining, like maybe you've tried to get people to watch this class, maybe members of your family, and they're going, what a load of rubbish. Okay? Why do they do that? Because people put things down when they don't understand it. Maybe you're in network marketing and people just keep saying, no, it's a pyramid scheme. See, the next time you hear that, ask them, what is a pyramid scheme? And I give you any money, they can't even explain what it is. And yet they've put your business down because they've said it's a pyramid scheme and they don't even know what it is. Because people are not thinking. People are just out to, if I scan this and it doesn't make any sense to me in my immediate memory bank, that's a load of rubbish. But what I'm saying is you're doing that from your filing cabinet. But what if we updated your filing cabinet? What if you started to see opportunities like neon lights that it's hard to miss, that were just bouncing out at you? That's when it starts to make a difference. Okay, so we want to talk about what it is you want. Let me see. Yeah, Christy's getting a shout out. Love it. And yes, you can watch all of these lessons again if you come into our Dynamite Effect page. That's where they are. We are not sending them out, so please know that, okay? So let's talk about this imagination. And really today's class is to get you to think. Think about what you actually want, okay? Because the imagination is one of your creative tools. It's the ability, it's the only thing that gives you ability to think and create, okay? Now, the imagination is what we call the workshop. So it's the place in your mind where you go build images, put things together to see how it could possibly turn out, okay? And that's exactly what you require. So you want to think to yourself, what is it that I really, really want? Like, have you actually spent any time whatsoever thinking about that? Have you allowed yourself any time to sit down and think, how do I want things to be next month? How do I want things to be next week? Like, really think about that. What is it that you really, really want? What do you want your bank balance to look like? Now, first thing that might come into your head is, okay, I don't have time to think about that. There's crisis happening. You do not have time not to think about it. Because what did we say yesterday? If you focus on the crisis and get emotionally involved in the crisis, you're going to stay in the crisis. I'm not saying don't look at the crisis and ignore the crisis. No, don't do that. Look at the crisis, but don't get your heart into it. Don't get emotionally involved in the crisis. Look at what you want and realize, this is where I want to be. This is where I'm going. This is just in my way, but this is where I'm going. And if you can keep your eyes set here and your heart set here, deal with this, but keep your eyes and heart here, then that's what's going to make this be so much easier to fix, because you're going to be in a better thinking place. Okay? So I want to do a few drawings for you so that you can start to really get this based on yesterday. Yesterday I kind of drew the mind for you, and I want to kind of move a wee bit further on from that today. And normally, you wouldn't get any of this unless you're in my coaching group, but I wanted to give you as much as I possibly could in this series because you deserve it, you need it, and it's my job to give it. Okay, so let me just see. There we go. Excellent. Okay, so I just want to make sure I've got everything that I wanted to share with you today. All right, so let's talk about you again. All right, so here's you. All right, if you weren't on yesterday, go back and watch yesterday's lesson so that you can understand what on earth I'm doing. So here's the mind, here's the body. Quick recap: mind is energy, body is physical. And it's cells that are in a high speed of vibration. What that means is you are made up of energy. Your cells are energy. Your bone is energy. Your hair is energy. Your eyes are energy. Everything is energy. and it's moving at a very, 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 very fast speed. So it almost looks solid. Okay, that is what you are. But it's your mind that controls the body. If we took the mind away, if we unplug the energy from your body would fall to the ground. Okay, so once the mind is gone, the body is no longer of any use, really. Okay, so this is why this is the most important part about you, your thinking, your mind. Then we've got two sections. Now there's lots of sections in the mind, but you don't need to get that complicated. If you're sitting there going, well, Kim, what about the amygdala? And what about the reticular activating system? Yeah, I know all those words too, but it doesn't have to be that complicated. Okay, here's one part, here's another part. First part is the conscious mind. Second part is the subconscious mind. Okay, this is the part of the mind that thinks. This, I'll put that there. This is the mind that thinks. This is the part of the mind that feels. Then the energy, it goes through your central nervous system, through every cell in your body, and moves. Okay, so when I think about lifting the pen, my hand automatically goes out. I don't need to go move arm out, lift pen, lift top off, put on. I don't need to do that. I probably learned that at some stage in my life when I was a wee baby, you know, how to walk, what to do. But right now, I just do it because it's instant. I think of the idea and it just goes shoo. Okay? Now, let's think about this imagination. Because what I said yesterday is you're attracting things to your life, and we pick everything up through our five senses: sight, hearing, taste, touch, smell. All right? And what did we say? Your paradigm, which is a collection of habits and beliefs, is the lens in which you view the world. Okay? So if you believe you can, then you will see ways that you can. If you believe you can't, you'll find all the reasons why something's not possible. Now think about the people in your family. Who are the people that are pessimistic and optimistic? Because that's what we're talking about here. Every single member of your family is programmed differently. Although as a family unit, these are quite similar. Because a paradigm is passed on from generation to generation and changes slightly throughout each person's lifetime, but only changes dramatically if the person actually becomes aware of this and decides to change it. Okay? So like if I think of my family don't know any of this. They do what they do. I'm like totally different from every single member of my family. Still very like my parents because I'm still, you know, a child of a parent. So there's that biological conditioning. But it's this part that is actually has made me different because I changed it 4.5 years ago. I started to think differently about me. I started to think differently about money. I started to think differently about everything. And that then became my programmed, conditioned way of thinking. So I started to attract more things in alignment with it. So if you ever hear about the word alignment, this is what it is. It's when we think, feel, and do all in alignment. So do you ever have those days when you're out and about and just everything's going amazing and you just want to shout from the rooftops? You're saying hello to the wee old women as they're walking their dogs and you could just skip. Ever feel like that? If you've ever felt like that, it's some people call it flow state. Or for an artist or a creator, when they're just in their zone. This is when they're totally aligned. The energy is going to and through them and into their art. Okay? It's perfection. There's nothing blocking. But that's not most people. This is what happens for most people, and this is what I want to get across to you today in which you can change. Let me just clean this up. Okay. So what can happen a lot of people is maybe you're watching this and you're thinking, she makes so much sense. I hope so. And I would really like more and I would really like to do whatever. And you're hearing an idea coming into your mind, and dependent on your programming, you're either going to think I'm full of it, or you're going to think, yeah, there's some truth in this. Okay. And it could be different. You might be sitting here going, yeah, this is totally amazing. Your husband would be going, there's a load of rubbish. Or the other way around. All right. Why do other people see it differently? Because of their program. Okay. So let's say let's say, I'll use the example I always use. Let's say you're in front of 10 people, all right? All these people out here, and 9 of them tell you you are incredible, tell you that you can do it. But then one person says you haven't a pup's chance. Catch yourself on. Who do you think you are, right? Who do you listen to? Do you listen to the 9 or do you listen to the 1? Let me know in the chat box. Who do you listen to? 9 or 1? Type 9 or 1 into the chat box. 9. Yeah. Okay. So lots of people saying number 1. Few people saying 9. Most people saying 1. Yeah. And if you're honest, it usually is a number 1. Okay. Why? Because that's the one that you got emotionally involved in. It hurt you. But why did it hurt you? Because there's a part of your conditioning. This is what we call the self-image. And this paradigm is very complex. Like, I teach this over 6 months, so I'm not trying to do this in 6 minutes. But there's a part in here that is about your self-worth, your confidence. And it's always programmed at the same level until you change it. So if you hear 9 people go, yeah, you can, and 1 person go, no, your paradigm resonates with the 1 thing, and it picks that negative thought. Because this is like a magnet. It will just attract what's in harmony with it. So if you don't have a great self-image, if you don't feel that you've much confidence, and then somebody comes along and says you're amazing, it's kind of like, doo-doo-doo. Yeah, whatever, didn't hear you. Because this part of the mind can accept or reject any thought. So you would usually reject it. Like, how many times if you put on a new outfit, you've spent hours dolling yourself up, and then you go out for a nice meal, somebody gives you a compliment, and you practically say, oh no, sure, this whole thing? But yet you spent hours fixing yourself. Your self-image isn't allowing you to accept the compliment, even though that's what you want more than anything. Your self-image won't let you accept it. Now think about that just a little bit deeper. You're wanting something, but your programming is against it. So when somebody tries to give you that something that you really want, in this scenario, it's a compliment, you're unable to accept it. Now let's think of it in terms of money, because your paradigm also controls the amount of money you earn. Let's say you're programmed here and somebody tries to give you an opportunity. Somebody tries to give you an idea, or somebody tries to even give you money. Like, how many times has somebody offered to pay for your dinner and you've went, no, 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 not at all. Stop doing that, because you are practicing, I'm not receiving. I'm not in the receptive mode. I'm not going to take that. And you're affirming in here, it's your paradigm that's saying no. Who doesn't want their dinner bought for them? Everybody does. But why do we say no? The programming automatically goes, oh, no. And you know what happens? You start to practice this non-receptive mode. So then one day when you're in business and you go into a big business meeting and you're pitching an idea, or you're with a client or whatever, you're in harmony of, I don't receive things. I don't like to be given what I want, because that's what you've practiced on a daily basis. And then what happens is that's the energy you're going into the meeting with. So when you go into the meeting, you're not going to get the outcome that you want. Now, that's not every time, but you won't get it to the extent that you could get it if you had practiced being open and receptive to things. So that's just one thing I want you to practice this week. Stop saying, no, I'm okay. Like, we're so wild for it. Another one is, how many times have you bumped into somebody in the car park, or hopefully not out at the moment, but how many times have you bumped into somebody? Sorry, how many times has somebody bumped into you? And what's the first thing we say? Sorry. They bumped into me and I'm saying sorry. What's that about? Do you know what that's about? That's your paradigm. You were brought up with manners. You were taught to say sorry if you did that sort of thing. But you would have been taught that actually in this scenario, it wasn't you that should have said sorry, it was the other person. And that's just your programming, because mom and dad taught you to say sorry, which is great, but you just got to use it at the right times. That's why maybe, like, I'm from Northern Ireland. Most of you guys are. A lot of you are from all over the world. But sometimes when I go traveling and I go to different countries, The culture is so different. You know, you'll go to some great cultures and then you go to some not so great cultures. Like when I was in the Philippines, the people in the Philippines are incredible. They are literally the nicest race I've ever met. They're incredible, so giving, so loving. They're amazing. Why? Because they have a cultural paradigm. That's what a paradigm is. You can get a paradigm in yourself, you can have a paradigm in your family, you can have a paradigm in your communities. Like even here in this country, or whatever country you're from, there's sections of your city or your country that are night and day. Okay, you've got some housing estates, then you've got big fancy places. Then you've got two housing estates that are totally different from each other. All right, none of them are better than each other. They just have all different belief systems. And of course, they'll bump heads sometimes, but it's all because of this. Everything's because of this. Like, this is what's so amazing about it when you start to learn it. It's the only problem. It's the only thing we ever need to think about. Even our belief system around what's going to happen in the next 3 to 4, 12 weeks, whatever it is, whatever you're giving energy to, because you're building it in your mind, the imagination creates pictures in your mind. So as you're thinking about this week, this weekend, today, next week, are you building a good image? Or are you building an image of, this is really tough and I'm really busy and I can't do this and blah, blah, blah? Because that's what your paradigm will instantly make you think, because you're out of routine. And when we're out of routine, we kind of go, wah! And routine is a paradigm. As soon as you're waking up, you move into routine. But now, because we're waking up and we stay at home, our routine's messed up. We're out of autopilot, and now we actually have to think. And that's sometimes hard work. So this is so part. I mean, I could talk about this forever. I teach my clients this every single week, and I never teach it the same. We go over it in different ways, and obviously how to change the paradigm and how to program it, because a lot of people don't know this exists. So I want you to resonate with this. Have you ever had a thought about doing something and then you feel this internal like conflict, this tug of war, I call it, where you're like, oh, I really want to do this, and then go, I'm not sure. Oh, I really want to, this is a good idea, but. Has anyone ever felt that tug of war game in their head? If you have, it's the conscious and the subconscious battling each other. It's the fact that you had an idea, but your programming went, no, but sure, don't do that. You procrastinate. Well, sure, don't do that. You might fail. Well, sure, don't do that because you've got no proof. And it keeps you boxed in. Okay? So when it comes to creating your goals, when it comes to deciding what you want, you've got to be prepared to pay the price. Now, when I say pay the price, that isn't always in monetary value, although you should invest in your mind because it's the most best asset you could ever have. I mean, when I first started out, I had £4.20. I didn't have money, but I sold my car just to get enough money to get me into the first part of this program. I studied this, Thinking into Results. It's the program that changed my life. I haven't done any other programs apart from Thinking into Results and anything that Bob Proctor has done. I've just studied the same program over and over and over and over and over. That's what I love about it. That's why I love teaching it to my clients, because it becomes a formula, a repeatable formula you just keep using over and over and over again. Like my first goal was just to make £2,000 extra a month to replace my nursing wage. And then when I hit it, I went, whoa, okay, well, what do I do now? Well, maybe I'll try for 4,000. And I just kept thinking it was a fluke, but it was because I was following a formula that actually helped me apply the information, which was then getting me the reaction of the universal laws that I didn't know diddly squat about. I just trusted that if Bob Proctor can help millions of people across the world, I would just love a little tiny bit of that. And then now I'm his number one. Pretty awesome. So let's think about your creative workshop, okay? Because this is called the imagination. The imagination lives in your conscious mind, okay? Now I'm not going to go into too much major detail on this because at the end of the day, this is a free series and I'm not going to be able to continue this with you. So I want you to just get the grasp of it so that then you can make a good decision on what you want to do next, okay? So the imagination is one of your 6 higher mental faculties. What that basically means is you have 6 mental muscles that you have. Everyone has them, but you probably don't know about it. And even if you did know about it, you may not know how to use them. Okay? There's nothing, we weren't taught this in school, so I don't expect you to know about it. I spent 9.5 years in psychiatric nursing. I'd never heard about it. So don't feel bad or don't be embarrassed or whatever. Okay? It is what it is. You have these 6 muscles. One of them, which I'm talking about now, is the imagination. The imagination is the workshop of your creation. Okay? A lot of people say to me, Kim, well, I don't have a goal. I don't know what I want. I don't know my purpose. Here's it very simply put. Your purpose is to create. That's it. What you create is up to you. That's why you've got free will. But you've been put on this earth, you've been given life, and the only thing that is really going on in this world is how much fun can you have? We get way too serious about stuff. You come into this world with nothing, you go out of this world with nothing. So why are you killing yourself in between trying to get all of these things? It's a really good thing to think about. You look at most people's lives, they're not living them the way they would really truly want to live them, and yet they can. So it's about being open to seeing how that's possible without being defensive on, well, that's all good for them, not for me. If that's your attitude, then just stop watching. Because if you haven't allowed yourself to open up your mind by day 4, I'm not sure. Okay? I'm not getting paid to do this. I don't want that. I'm just trying to help you, but you've got to be willing to help yourself. And that's where you've got to listen with your heart, not your ears. We listen to understand, not to hear. So if anything is resonating with you right now, even though you might be even getting lost and you're confused, if it's resonating, listen. Because your potential is in the bottom of your subconscious mind. The perfection within you is in here. Like, I know that you can do more. I even know that you're worth more than what you get paid every year. But then why are you not? Every scientist has told us we don't tap into anywhere near our potential. But our potential is there, and we have to use these muscles to tap into it. Because the paradigm is what sits on top of your potential. That's why sometimes you feel like, yes, I can do this. And then it's like somebody's pulling you back. It's like you have a big bungee cord on your back and you're running, and then ping, away you go back again. Do you ever feel like that? You get so close and then you get yanked back. And then it's like, do I have the energy to go again? And this is what I see. People give up on themselves. People give up on their goals because they don't know how to allow this to come into form. We've got to change the paradigm. You don't just get rid of it because we all need one. It's our belief system and our habits. But we've got to figure out habits that are in harmony with your goal. So this is why we start at the goal and we work our way back. I call this reverse engineering. So anytime somebody comes to me and they say, Kim, I want to earn 20K a month, which is our kind of usual target, I go, okay, great. Now let's talk about your mind. Let's talk about your services. Let's think. Let's start to create. Let's think outside the box. But most importantly, once we've designed that, okay, you're not going to go and do that. Why? Because you're not programmed to. That's why I crack up when I see people throwing money at 1-2 day workshops that promise the world to change everything. Anytime I do a workshop like Inception recently, first thing I say when I go on stage is, guys, this is 2 days. You're going to get a hell of a lot of information. I'm going to open up your mind. And if you make a decision while you're here, your life will change. But 2 days isn't going to crack it. Like, I'm 33 coming in May. And that's 33 years of thinking the same thing over and over and over. That's not going to be shifted in 2 days. So if you are a seminar junkie, okay, if you are a YouTube junkie, if you're a book junkie and you just keep going to this stuff because it makes you feel good when you're reading it or watching it, but it's not really making a change in your life, please wake up and realize that doesn't work. Now, it's better than not reading anything, but it's not going to make a huge shift in your life. because this is the intellectual mind. This is where YouTube, the books, everything goes up here. How to get in here is what you've got to learn. That's what we teach. That's how people dramatically change their results. It's the application. It's shifting all this stuff at a very deep cellular level. So that's what I want to help you with. But today, I just want you to think. I want you to tap into your imagination. I want you to build the image of what you desire. And the question I love is, if everything was possible, anything and everything, if you had all the money in the world, if you had a magic wand, what would you choose? What would you create? Because you can create anything. Everybody on this call right now, even if you're sitting at home, we could all pretend that we've just jumped into a freezing ice cold lake. I want you to just sit for 2 seconds, close your eyes, and imagine and you're naked and you've just jumped into an ice cold lake. What does that feel like to you? Tell me in the chat box, what comes up in your mind when you think about doing that? I really think if you jumped into an ice cold lake, absolutely stark naked, what does that make you feel thinking about it? Somebody's going, painful, uncomfortable, freezing, heart attack, nightmare. Yeah. So even now, as you're sitting in your living room, you may still even be in your pajamas, you know what it feels like because you created the image in your mind. As soon as you have the image, you're going to have a feeling. Think of, you might hate me for this one, nails down a chalkboard. How many people just went, oh, don't like that? Okay? If you just made that funny face or a shiver, whether it was in the leg or whether it was about nails of a chalkboard, this is what I'm talking about. I just gave you an idea, a thought, you heard it, it went in here, you felt, and you could hear the noise, and what's your body do? This weird thing, okay? Maybe you're not as weird as me, maybe you just go, oh, I don't like that, but you move, you don't just sit and go, nails down a chalkboard, unless you really consciously hold yourself like that. So this is how quick this works, all right? Good stuff. Okay, now we're getting everybody saying dentist drill and cotton wool and all sorts of stuff. But this, like, even think about that. We all have, I mean, there's some strange phobias out there. I used to work with a girl who was afraid of fruit. And I mean, she was terrified of fruit. She was one of my nursing colleagues, and I was a bit of a troublemaker in a good way. But I didn't really take it seriously. I thought, catch yourself on, how can you be afraid of fruit? So I decided to chase her down the hospital with a banana. Turns out that wasn't the best thing to do. She wasn't very happy. But I thought it was funny because I was like, how could you be afraid of a banana? And she was terrified. Why? Because her belief system in here, even though on an intellectual level she's going, it's a bloody banana, don't be so ridiculous, it can't run, it can't hurt me, it can't do anything. Logically, she knew this is a load of rubbish. But subconsciously, her belief system was, that's going to kill me. Or whatever she thought. I don't know if that was the thought. So this was a grown woman, a nurse, I'm not going to name her, who knew a banana can't hurt her, but had a belief system that a banana could hurt her. So what did her body do? Her body didn't listen to the logical mind. The body listened to the subconscious mind, because that's the part it's connected to. So she ran. And then, of course, I thought this was hilarious, so I ran after her. Yes, I'm a brat. So this is where I want you to see, oh my goodness, this is always in charge. So even as you start to think about your goals, you might be saying to yourself, but Kim, I don't know my goals. I don't know what I want. No, you've just practiced saying you don't know your goals and you're stuck. That's what it is. It's your paradigm keeps saying you don't know what you want. Or it's your paradigm that keeps saying, well, sure, how are you going to do that? If you want something new, you've got to understand that you're going to have new thoughts to create it. You're never going to be able to create something new with the old way of thinking, because the old way of thinking is getting you current results. whatever they are, good, bad, or whatever. Like my current results are pretty good, but I also know that they can be better. And how do I know to make them better? I just need to study me. The more I study this material, the more I use thinking into results or lead the field or any of the programs that I have, the more that I understand this, the more I can look at my results and go, do you know what? They're not bad, but I could create more. Because if I can see it in my mind, I can hold it in my hand. What I teach people is how to create an image that they have no idea how to achieve. And then I teach them how to bring it into the subconscious mind. Because what did we say earlier? There has to be flow. There has to be alignment. You can't want something and then think you can't get it. Then you're never going to take action. It's the action that proves that you know you can go and do it. A lot of people are maybe doing affirmations. Maybe a lot of people are looking at vision boards and you're doing all these things and nothing's changing. Maybe you've got a check on the wall. Like The Secret didn't actually teach us the secret, even though Bob was in it. It taught us to look at things and think about things, but then we go, hello, it's not out here, what's going on? And I'm going, well, have you taken any action? And it's either a yes or a no. If it's a no, it's because you don't believe that you can do it. If it's a yes and you're still not getting the right results, then I know in here's Brooke. You're not in alignment. You might be taking action, but you're taking action with a belief system of this is never going to work. And when you do that, it usually doesn't work. Now, if we could create an image that you want and program it into the subconscious mind, so now it's all in harmony, there's no more conflict, there's no more internal battle. You know what you want, you believe you can get it, you go out confidently and take action, and it's the action reaction from the universe. This is the law of cause and effect. So if you think I'm talking about the universe, this is science, it's quantum physics. It's the action reaction which gets us a new result, and it will be closer to what you want, if not that exactly, depending on your level of awareness. If you're brand new to this, you'll get something better, but maybe just not super clear. Like I can see huge transformations in my ability to manifest things. From the start, it was like, oh, I got a wee bit closer, but now that I'm at a much more advanced stage, I can see I'm going to have this, and I'm going to do it by that date, and it's done. Like in my business, some of you know, I had a huge goal last year, and that was to get 100 sales in 22 days because I wanted to get my diamond pin, to be the first person in the world to earn £1 million in 1 year for Bob Proctor. Nobody has ever done it, okay? I actually did it in 10 months. But I did it because I had a goal, and I wanted to get it. Now, you needed like 300 sales in a year, and I was 100 out, and I had 22 days to go. Now, in my business, if I looked back at the old model, and this is what this whole series is about, I was at a place going, oh my goodness, how am I going to do this? I've never done 100 sales in 22 days. I don't know anybody that has. And if I look back at my old model, I can see if I was to do 100 sales on average, based on me, and I'm the number one, that would probably take me 7 months to achieve. I had 22 days. This was in October past. So what did I have to do? I had to ask myself some serious questions. How much do you really want it, Kim? And I wanted this more than life itself, okay? So I wanted it. I wasn't giving up on it. Most people would go, oh, okay, just give up. Pick another date. No, that's the date I want. That's what I'm going to have. I'm going to be on stage, a paradigm shift, getting my diamond pin. And I was telling everybody this. I'm going to do this. And everyone's going, okay. All right. So I knew, I looked at this, I looked at my materials, I used thinking into results, and I said, right, this is the result I want. So what do I need to change? Well, I need to start thinking thoughts and start thinking creatively. I need to build a new model because the old model is obsolete. The old model is getting me this result, and I want this result. So I started to use this. I started to change my programming. And there's a specific way that you do that. It's a step-by-step formula. And if you don't do all of the steps in the way that they need to be done, you will never get the end product. It's like trying to bake a cake and you decide, oh, sure, I know better. I'll put 1 egg in instead of 3. I'm going to put it at this temperature instead of that. In fact, I'm going to only just put it in for 10 minutes. You're not going to have the cake you want. So you've got to be willing to actually go, do you know what? There is a process. There is a science to success. There is a way that I can start to look at the positive. And if you're sitting there right now thinking, oh, well, I'll do all of this when all of this passes, probably the worst mistake that you can make. Now is the only time that you have, and now your thoughts today are creating tomorrow. So the time is now. The time was Monday. The time was yesterday. The time, you're getting another opportunity right now. So what are you going to do with it? And I honestly, and this is me being honest, you can't do it by yourself. Because every time you go to do it by yourself, the paradigm's going to go, come on, you back over here. All right? Don't do that. Be a part of like-minded people. Learn this actual science that you have every right to get your hands on. And the other thing is, you could go and look at YouTube and go to a library, go and buy Think and Grow Rich. It's not the knowing, remember that. It's the doing, okay? So you build the image. You firstly figure out, what do I want? And I want you to start thinking big, outside the constrained current limitations. What would you, like, how many days would you love to work moving forward? You've got to build that new model. When I was at 22 days out, I decided this is what I want. I came up with a new model, and I did 100 sales in less than, I think, 6 days. And I did less work, less energy. I used this material, and I was able to get 100 sales in 6 or 7 days. I had 22 to start with, but it took me about 3 days to get past the absolute fear of not knowing how I was going to do it. That's called the terror barrier. I hit it, slid down it, face plant. And then I started to go, right, okay, catch yourself on time. This is possible. Anything's possible. But you have to be persistent. You have to be willing to do that. And you got to be willing to be mentored. So I was asking Bob, help me. You say anything's possible. How do I get 100 sales in less time? Now, he didn't even give me the idea. I came up with the idea. Then I executed the idea in faith that it would work. And it did work. And I've done this so many times in my life, and I share this with my clients so they can learn, because we're all the same. I'm no better, but I do know stuff that I know every single person in this world needs. There's nobody in this world that doesn't need this. Nobody is exempt of this. If you're watching this and you think, oh, I'm way more successful than her, I'm way older than her, age has got nothing to do with success. Experience has got very little to do with success. The key to success is conscious level of awareness. The more aware you are, and awareness is all got to do with this, the more you're going to become aware of what your goal is. Like, there's a way right now that you could totally radically change your business model, or the way that you're going after your goal, whatever your goal is. There's an easier way, you just don't know it. If you did know it, you'd do it. If you knew how to earn 10 times the amount of money that you're earning, will you be doing it? But you don't know how. But just because you don't know how doesn't mean it's not possible, because you also know there's other people in the world doing it. So why do you think you can't do it? It makes no sense. Why do you think that? Because you're conditioned to think that. So today's lesson, what I really want you to get from it, and I'll touch on it a little bit more in our last call tomorrow, is all you've got to do is think about it, and then start to work on changing your habits and beliefs to match it. I mean, that is it in a nutshell. But that part isn't just as easy as what I make it and say it, okay? It is what it is, and I can't say it any other way, but actually the process of rewiring your subconscious mind is a process. And that's where I want you just to decide, if I want X, then I must think like X. If I want Y, I must think like Y. But if you want Y and you're thinking X, there's a clash, there's a conflict, there's confusion, there's anxiety, frustration, banging your head off a wall. Like, maybe some of you are in business and you keep telling your staff to do something in a certain way or to get stuff done, and you tell them and you tell them, and they still don't do what you tell them to do. Or they do it their way and it's not how you wanted it done. How frustrating is that? How much money is that costing you? How much stress is that costing you? It's costing you millions and you don't even know it. Now, why do staff do that? Well, it's not because it's staff, it's because it's people. every person on this call is like this. And you can tell me, and I can hear you, I must do it this way. But you know what I actually do? I always do what I always do. So if you're in a company, if you are an employee or whatever, a company will grow faster if all the employees are in harmony with the goal. And the best way to get your employees in harmony with your goal, if you're the boss, is that you've got to get interested in their goals. In every team meeting I have with my own team, with Lindsay, with Emma, with Naomi, I always am interested in where are you guys at in your goals? How can I help you? Like my two girls, Emma and Lindsay, my two sales consultants, have smashed it this month, probably their best month in their whole life. And yet we're in a month that is very difficult. That's because I've helped them to train not to allow outside influences to affect them, to stay in harmony with their goal, and they've achieved their goal just like that. Imagine things could be easier. I just love that premise. I love that thought. It absolutely can. So I'm going to finish up, guys, and I'm going to just finish up with one little reading. Oh, you're all talking about thinking into results. Great. What are you talking about? I love it. Love it. Yes, Andrew, you were one of my 100. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So last little bit I wanted to read from is Out of U Squared. I did ask you to buy this book. It wasn't so much for this series, but I do have something very exciting coming. So you want to tune in tomorrow. But it says on page 14, it's Think Beyond Common Sense Would Allow. What a great chapter. And it says it's time to start focusing on possibilities rather than on limits or obstacles. Making a quantum leap means moving outside your mental boundaries. Okay, move outside that. If you will rethink how you've been thinking, you can multiply your performance potential. You must let your desires guide you instead of allowing yourself to be boxed in by perceived constraints. So anytime you think, and I want you tonight to go away and sit and go, what do I want? My purpose on this planet is to create. How do I want to create? That's your purpose. Your goal is just a piece of that. Now, I teach my clients the whole process of goal creation because it is a process. Most people do not know how to set and achieve goals. They just pick something out of the sky and that's it. There's a process to it. But I want you guys to just think tonight, what do you want? How do you want your health to be? How do you want your family to be? How do you want your relationships to be? How do you want your business to be? Do you want to start a new business? Do you want to do something else? Do you want to travel? Where do you want to go on holidays once all this is over? Please think about that whilst taking precaution and necessary action in the now. It's the only way you're going to get through this and live a very successful life. You've got to keep looking forward. If you're a leader in your field, then you've got to keep working forward. The number one key to being a great leader is by focusing on a vision that most people cannot see. You should always be working. You should always be looking at something and creating. So take that on board today. Go, I was going to say go home, but you are home. Go and really ask yourself those questions today. If anything was possible, or I had a magic wand, what would your life be like? Just take 10 minutes today. Maybe even sit outside the back garden with the sun and just put earphones in. Don't be distracted and write it down. Don't just think it when you're doing the ironing. Go give yourself 10 minutes. Get a cup of tea or coffee and just pen and paper and just play with it. Don't force it. Don't fight it. Just play with the ideas and see what you come up with. I would love to hear from you guys. Go into the Dynamite Effect page. Please let us know what's coming up for you. If you have any questions, let me help you. I am more than willing. But realize that there is a process to all of this. And your imagination is the key. Okay? See it in your mind. You hold it in your hand. Definite demands backed by definite principles. That is the key for you to soar through the rest of your life, using it over and over and over and over again. Okay? Now, If you've loved this, which I hope you have, and you do want to actually chat to us, and you are thinking maybe, you know, I'd love to hear more about Thinking into Results or any of the other programs that we have. We've got lots of different options for everybody. Please reach out. I'm going to put a link here in the chat box for you guys that are on live with me. And this is essentially so that you can have a 30-45-minute call with the guys to actually hear what you could do, to actually find out what is the easiest way that you can achieve your goals. So once I find the link, I will put it in. There we go. So I'm just going to pop a link into the chat box here on the webinar. I'll also put it on to Facebook. And I want you to go to that link, book your call in. It doesn't cost you a penny. We're not here to get you, it's not about a sales pitch. It's about what do you want, what is currently holding you back, and how can we help you? And that's our job to work that out, not yours. All you got to do is just jump on and tell us all about you, okay? So if this has resonated with you in any shape or form, please just go right now and book your call. Don't wait, because when you wait, old conditioning just goes right back into routine. Like some of you haven't done gratitude every morning. I know you haven't. Even though you said you would, even though you know you should, but you didn't. Why? You're not in the habit of doing it. So you need to book a call, because it'll be the same next week. It'll be the same next month. You won't even remember me. Okay? Now, I'm not saying I want you to remember me. I just want you to live life on your terms. So book your call. Give yourself the opportunity. Let us help you. And most importantly, tune in tomorrow for our very, very, very last call in this incredible series. Tomorrow is all about creating your own economy. We're going to talk a bit about money tomorrow, a bit about vibrations and frequencies and the manifestation process and things like that. So you definitely don't want to miss tomorrow. And we'll have other stuff happening then in the next kind of couple of weeks to come, just to help you and serve you. But please make a decision now. You got nothing. Don't think that now is not the right time. Now is the right time. Okay. So book your call. I hope you have loved this. I will never forget you, Kim. Thank you, Daleroy. I love that. Excellent. Okay. Well, I'm going to go, and I'm just looking at all your comments. I never get to read them because it goes as soon as I close this down. The link is, I'll put the link in again. People are asking for the link. There you go. So I've just put it in there. It's a long link. If you can't find the link, because I'm going to close this down, I'm going to pop it straight up onto the Dynamite Effect page, and you can go there and also book your call. All right. So as again, guys, it was so amazing being here with you today. I can't wait for tomorrow. And I really, really hope this has made a great change for you. Please go into the Dynamite Effect page, give us a review. Let me know if this has served you. I've never done anything like this series before. So I would love to hear from your feedback. What was good? What would you like more of? You know, I'm learning. I mean, everything I'm teaching you, I'm literally doing right now. I'm saying, get up, get out, and I'm doing it. So please let me know what your thoughts are. Give us your feedback. Let other people know. You could still share the series, invite people into the group, because that's where we're holding the series. So if you want your friends or family, co-workers, anybody to see this, they need to join the Dynamite Effect page. Okay, brilliant. Have a wonderful day, guys. Let me see, Eva, you can't seem to see it, and I don't know why. There we go. I've just sent it to you directly, Eva. Perfect. Okay, I will see you all very soon. Have a wonderful day. Arlene, the link is definitely there. Let me just send it to you as well. There we go. So copy and paste that right away, or click it. If you can't find it, just go on the Dynamite Effect. We're going to put that up straight away. All right. Have a wonderful day, guys. Please, please, please think about your goals. If everything was possible, what would you love? That is the question. All right. Have a good one. See you later. Bye-bye.